Is the sun setting on Run Adventurer? We need to have a frank discussion about the future of the channel. Stick around and we'll have a chat about it. Let's see if we can catch a sunset. I'm heading out towards Frodsham. So we've arrived. Tonight we're at Frodsham Hill. We've filmed here a couple of times, but if you're like me and can only walk a few hundred yards, you can park right at the top. So we're going to head down here to the viewing point, which is beautiful, and watch the sunset. I won't make you watch. It's not far, it's just hang on, can you see? It's not far, just a few hundred yards down here. But I won't make you watch me walk it, because it may well take me 20 or 30 minutes to get that 200 or 300 yards with my heart condition and the way I feel right now. Come on, let's go see the view, see if we can see a sunset. Okay, where shall we begin? I guess where did Run Adventurer begin? That's a good place to begin, isn't it? So 3 years ago, I designed a logo. I had a bit of thought about how I could use my skills and interests to create some entertaining content. I love adventure, I love getting out into the countryside. I love to run. Not that I'm any great runner, but I thought it would be a nice, interesting take to share the beauty of the countryside from the perspective of an older runner but not just aimed at runners, aimed at anybody who enjoys the countryside. I knew that the content wouldn't appeal to everybody, but the world's a big place, I figured. Build it and they will come. And so I began by running up Old Pale. And from there, we've been all over. It really has been an adventure. I knew I would enjoy it, but I really didn't realise how much I would enjoy it until I started doing it. I love what do I love about it? It's a perfect combination of my skills, really. For me, I like to do things that are creative, but also things that are technical, my computer skills. And I enjoy problem solving, and you put the three things together, mixed with my interests, it really brought me alive. It's the best thing I've ever done. And when you get feedback from people who say they love it, yeah, that's such a special experience. There have been highs and there have been lows, right now it's kind of a low. So apologies if the tone is a little sombre. Perhaps we'll look back in future days at this and laugh. But we are sort of on a precipice. So I guess first off, we should talk about me, how I came to becoming to do this, really, because it will help explain why it's so important to me and what's at stake. So I'm a Cheshire lad, brought up in Kelsall. I worked in labs, and then I went off and did a degree in chemistry, worked as an industrial chemist for 5 years. And then it was the birth of the internet. And I've always been into computer programming, used to write games as a kid. I should have done computing really at university, to be honest with you. But whenever the new technology comes along, there's a sort of wave that lasts about 20 years typically. You see it with the electric light bulb, you saw it with the telephone, and I knew that the same sort of thing was going to happen with the internet. And so I jumped on that wave and became a web developer, creating content. And really, it's the same sort of thing. It's a union of problem solving with creativity and computer knowledge and skills, writing code. Really, creating websites is about mind reading, really, being able to read somebody's mind of what they want. And also, I've been doing it for over 20 years, strategic marketing, when the customer doesn't know what they need. But I've got a pretty good idea what's going to work for them and make them money. So I've been doing that for 20 odd years, but the sun is setting on that industry. And I can see that, the demise of that industry. There's no point fighting it, it's going to happen. So in the early days, it was very profitable because I built everything from scratch. These days, it's become less profitable because it's working on platforms. However, the birth of AI means that I can see in 3 to 5 years' time, tops, you'll be able to say to an AI, build me a website, do me some strategic marketing research of what colours and fonts are going to work for a particular market area, and design me a logo. So all that work you get for designing logos is gone, and build me a website, and it will just do it. So my skill will become redundant. And I could see that, and so I looked for a way to diversify my skills, use my skills in another way. And that's what Run Adventure was about. Can I use my technical knowledge and experience and 20 years of strategic marketing work to create content? And that's what we've been doing. The plan was always build it and they will come. And the plan was always ignore the algorithm. Don't create content because it's what Google wants. Create content because it's what you love. And that's what I do. I ignore the algorithm entirely. And to create evergreen content. So these runs, hopefully people could be looking at them in 20, 30 years' time. And you build up a large library of content that people can be watching, that you're getting paid ad revenue for. And it is, I'm sorry, from the very beginning, this has been about making money. Not a lot of money, I'm not greedy, but just enough. I'd like to make enough money out of it so that I can do it. At the moment, we're not at break even. From last year to this, last year we were about 800 subscribers. This year we're up to nearly about 1,400 now, I think. And now we're monetised. And right now, Run Adventurer is making me perhaps £40 a month, maybe £50 a month on a good month. And I think so I don't know, £10 to £20 coming from the advertising on YouTube, nearly £20 coming from those fantastic Patreon subscribers, and the rest coming from affiliate links and things from the website. However, we've got two issues right now which could potentially cause the demise of Run Adventurer as a project. So the videos, I've always set out from the beginning to create a video every week. However, those videos take a long time to create because I'm not doing, most of them aren't that sort of cheap YouTube stuff where you're talking to camera. They are like this one. They are complicated. The running ones are complicated. You're typically 2 days work. I mean, full day's work. You know, I'm there until 7 or 8 at night working. And sometimes as long as 4 days. And I've been doing that week in, week out for 3 years. And there are a little over 250 videos up now on YouTube, and there's more than that because some of them are just on Patreon as Patreon exclusives. I've never wanted to be beholden to YouTube though. From the very beginning, I was plugging the idea of Patreon, and I set the bar very low at £2 a month because, well, one, I knew that as soon as the thing was monetised, it's nothing worse than damned adverts all over it. So giving people an opportunity to get it without the adverts, giving them early access to, and some behind the scenes stuff. Now, I make more money out of Patreon than I do out of YouTube. And honestly, that's where I see the future, because in order to have enough traffic coming in for this thing to work in the time frame I have to work in, I'd need 20, 40,000 subscribers. And the way it's growing, which I'm having to pay to make it grow, advertise to make it grow. It's not going to happen in that time frame. I would have to have a marketing budget of 10 grand to get enough people to see it to get enough subscribers on YouTube. Anyway, there's lots of content there for YouTube already. So things have got to change. Right now, we'll talk about my health in a minute, but right now I'm having to, because of my health, only do a running video every other week and getting someone else to film. There will be other types of video coming up as well, like leisure drives and things like that, because that's all I can do. But even when I recover, I'm going to move to a model of, sorry guys on YouTube, of paywalling half of that running stuff to make the Patreon more attractive. Because if I don't, I don't know how many do I need? 200 Patreon subscribers maybe? A few of them paying at the higher rate, at the £10 a month subscription. Obviously it would be a lot less, but I need to get that number up. Otherwise the wheels are going to come off the bus. The reason being that the income from the web design business, I'm spending say 3 days a week doing Run Adventure and only 2 days doing the web design job, and also balancing multiple plates and doing all the housework and all the ironing and what have you. But the income from the web design business is falling and will fall, and eventually I won't have enough money to pay the salary for the web design job. And at that point then I have a choice to make. I can either wind up the web design business, which is I don't want to do, because there will always be, I've got customers I've had for 20 years that I support. But if there isn't enough money coming in from it, I will have to make a decision of, do I continue but get a part-time job, or do I wind the business up and get a full-time job? Either way, I'm not going to have 3 days a week to do Run Adventurer. I'm not saying I would stop completely, but then I would only be able to perhaps put a video out every 2 months or something. It would lose all its flow. It wouldn't, I could see it would just make the whole thing implode. So yeah, so you understand why it's so important to me. So I think this year it's a crunch year really. Can I grow the business? So growing the business, the way I'm growing the business at the moment is with either boosting on Facebook, £10 here, £20 there, or using YouTube's promotional tool. Minimum bid for that is £38. If I do one of those, bang, you instantly get 50 to 100 subscribers though. But I can't afford to do lots of it. Speaking to the fellow YouTubers out there, if you're a YouTuber, I am open to collaboration. If you like, you can be introduced to my audience and I could potentially be introduced to yours. Perhaps we do a desert island disc thing where you show me your favourite place and we do an interview and have a talk and take in a beautiful view somewhere. You might show me a new trick somewhere I've not been before. If you're a runner, you might want to be a guest runner, like I've done with Jason, and you can show me your favourite place. Don't know, just a thought. So yeah, if you're interested, just reach out. I'll be happy. You've been doing me a great service. Yeah, so that's that. So then I suppose we should talk about my health. So if you're watching this live on YouTube, then last week was the Upkinton route. Now, the first thing to realise is that was 7 weeks ago. No, 8 weeks ago when I'm filming this. So 8 weeks to when you're watching this. And it was the day before I ended up in hospital. So, yeah, and I ended up in hospital with chest pain. They let me out, the pain went off, they let me out, and from the following day to today, I've had chest pain and tightness and pain in my back constantly now. Perhaps by next week it'll have gone, please. But I've had pain for all that time. The doctor thinks it's myocarditis because the pain is helped by taking naproxen, but also my blood pressure's through the roof. my blood pressure is typically stable. So back in January, it was 130 something over 80, which was normal. And then when it was hospital, they noted it was high, and they got me to monitor it. And then as I got worse after I got out of hospital. I ended up in bed after about a week. I was in bed, and then I had a whole week of just being in bed, because just being stood up for more than 2 or 3 minutes left me in massive amounts of pain. And then my blood pressure at that point spikes to, I think, about 170 over 95. So the doctors are working to bring that down, and it is coming down. So perhaps who knows? I've still got another 3 weeks to wait, 2 weeks by the time you're watching this, before I get my cardiologist appointment and get my tests. So I'm still in limbo. Who knows? Hopefully it's myocarditis. Hopefully it can be fatal. You could end up with your heart failing and dying while you're waiting for a heart transplant. Perhaps it's pulmonary hypertension. Perhaps it's angina. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But all I know is that I can't do anything right now. Anything at all. And the likelihood is I'm not going to be able to run until Christmas, and then it will take me 6 months probably after that to build myself back up again. But as long as I don't die, I will return to running. The question is, can I keep Run Adventurer going? And I just don't know. So this is not a plea to say, please subscribe on Patreon. I'm just letting you know what is going on, because, I don't know. I don't know when the wheels are going to fall off the bus. And I wouldn't want to get to that point and you go, oh, I wish I'd known. I'd have helped. I'd have subscribed, because by then it would be too late. But who knows? It is building. We are making money now. I say it's not break even by a long chalk, because let's forget the 20 to 30 hours a week I'm spending doing it. I'm paying out, I don't know, I've not added it up. I'm probably spending a couple of £1,000 a year in total when you add it all up. The hosting, the website hosting, video hosting, the music licensing, the petrol, the parking, if you add it all up, it's a lot of money. And if I don't have that revenue from the business, I wouldn't be able to afford it. Also, time. It's just time. Obviously, if I'm working full time, then I just wouldn't have enough hours to do it. Also, this is a wake-up call for me. I mean, it's good in a way. Being ill is good because it's made me step back. I'm the sort of person that gets laser focused on something and gets really invested. And this is good because it's made me stop and look at it objectively and think about it and think about the strategy. Sun's getting low now. Yeah, so I say this has made me look at things, the broader picture. And one thing I've realised is that I've been working myself to death. I mean, it just sounds melodramatic, but I really have. In that I'm trying to do so much stuff that I very rarely get ill. But of late, because my immune system's obviously suppressed because I've been doing so much. I mean, I got strep throat at Christmas, for instance, and I had 2 weeks, I think, in bed, unable to move, really, really, really ill. And then at least another week before I was well enough to move around. Then I've had a chest infection, and then because I'm pushed myself so hard, that's then spread to my heart. And yes, textbook working yourself to death, isn't it? In that this infection, I assume it's a viral infection on my heart now. If I don't stop completely, then it's good night. Don't want to be melodramatic, but I'm dead. So yeah, I need to be a bit smarter in future. I mean, so make the channel split 50-50 between Patreon, because they're paying me. Those fantastic Patreon subscribers, they deserve more from me. So they're going to get more. They're going to get half the content. And yeah, and the YouTube, although it's every other week, I'll be able to push those videos harder so that more people see them. Sun's falling now. Hello, Pooch. And, so I'm just going to sit back and watch the sun go down. Keep all your fingers and toes crossed, folks, that the sun doesn't go down on Run Adventurer, and that we're here next year, next August, and we can laugh about it, but we'll see. Take care, folks. Let's watch the sun go down. Time for bed. Nighty night, folks.